Hi guys, and welcome back to our Pipex YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to cover a few very important topics that are relevant not only to piping engineering, but also to other disciplines such as architecture, HVAC, and structural engineering, and etc. There are already quite a lot of good tutorials available on our channel, and yet this important topic has not been covered so far. The first thing we're going to talk about is project structure, how to make it consistent and explicit, and how to maintain control over it instead of blindly following the default preset settings. And the second thing we're going to talk about is view templates. There are a few templates in the default project, and we're going to look at them. We will discuss why it is so important to understand what a view template is and how to use its full potential in your projects. After that, we will cover another topic that you need to pay attention to when working in a team of several people on a model. This feature is activated after turning on the collaboration workflow in Revit and is called worksets. Worksets are crucial for optimal data organization in a project. To give you an idea of what these are, they can be compared to, for example, layers in AutoCAD. Basically, they are presets that allow you to assign components to specific groups. Those components will always remain associated with those groups, and then you can enable or disable them. You can control their visibility or even make your model load faster by disabling presets that you won't need in your project. For example, if you are going to work on a particular area, you can disable all the others to make the process quicker and more efficient. I will show you how to manage worksets in your project so that your data is organized in the best possible way. Last but not least, I will give you some tips on how to model pipes following this structure in a way that can make your life significantly easier. Alright, let me begin with the project browser and how to organize it. Unfortunately, the software developers left us the possibility to make changes to only 4 sections here. First, the view section, legends, schedules, and sheets. So, unfortunately, you cannot make any changes to these 2 sections, families and groups. But here we can do quite something. I would advise you to always have 4 general parameters that help you to filter out the data in your project. Of course, depending on the organization where you work, it can deviate from what I said, but I would say that you always must have these 4 extra parameters that are related to views, schedules, sheets, and, well, legends aren't actually included in this list, so you can forget about it, because legends they aren't really relevant for what we are going to do. I would say because it will always be plain, so you cannot do much about it. So what kind of parameters and what values you should have? As always, I recommend using our shared parameters file that is available for download on our website under tutorials, because here we have already used dozens of parameters that you can freely use in your projects. And of course, you can develop your own shared parameters file based on the documents we have already developed. Actually, our shared parameters file was added recently, so don't be surprised if you haven't seen it before, it was not there yet. Now I'll go to the Manage tab and show you how to create the 4 important parameters that I have mentioned at the beginning that I think are important to work efficiently in Revit. So I'll go to Project Parameters, and here I'll create a new parameter. Of course, I'll select Shared Parameter, and I'll use our shared parameter file. Project hierarchy I need to find here, and we can see these four parameters: phase, purpose, yes, status, user. So I think I will start with the phase. I'll click OK. I will include this parameter as instance because it's not even possible to include it as type. Then I will select a few categories on the right. We'll need 3 categories: views, sheets, where are they? Yes, sheets, and schedules. Like this, click OK. And then I'll add 3 more parameters. Select shared parameter. Okay, let it be purpose this time. Also instance, and then we'll repeat the same procedure. For this parameter, I will select the same 3 categories. So I'll find in the list schedules, sheets, and views. And I also click OK. So here I will do the same: sheets, schedules, and views. Okay. And what is left is the user parameter. Okay. These are the 4 parameters that we created, and we also included them to the categories that we wanted. So let's talk about these parameters. Phase is a phase of a project, so it can be detailed or basic, conceptual. So it really depends on how you work in Revit, on your organization, and normally it will be predefined by the BIM execution plan. So in this video, I'll assume that we'll have several phases in the same project, so I'll keep it in. And user is a very important parameter. So every user on our project will have his own number of views where he is working. That's why it's important to have this parameter. So purpose. Purpose can be anything. Actually, it depends on the discipline. So I'll start with a perspective of a piping engineer. So it can be piping layout, piping section, secondary steel layout, isometric drawings, so all kind of drawings that you can imagine. So status. So it can be new construction, existing, hold, to name a few examples. Yes. So these parameters will help you to organize your views. That's why we included them, and we can click OK now. All right, then I will go to views, browser organization, and here I want to show you how to create presets from scratch. I will start with the views, click on new. I will call it Pipex, of course. Okay, and here we see two main categories: filtering and grouping and sorting. So I would say that filtering doesn't make much sense for our purpose, because let's say you want to see only the current phase of the project and want to hide all the previous phases. Yes, that could be the example where you can this could be useful. So we'll skip filtering, we won't do anything with the filtering, and we'll go to grouping and sorting. And here I'll add our parameters. I'll add phase first, then purpose, user, and the last thing that I'll add will be the status of the project. I'll click OK and select it, and then I'll continue with the sheet. Here I will also create a new preset, call it Pipex again, and we'll repeat this procedure. So phase, then purpose, user, and status. Yeah, we could add even more. You see, we could add more parameters, but in our case it doesn't make much sense, but it is possible. Of course, it's always up to you. I'll click OK, select it, and go to the schedules. Here I'll also select it and click OK. Okay, now you see that I already have several views in my project, but by default they are undefined. So what we'll do now, we'll select a 3D view, for example, and we'll type in the data for the phase, purpose, status, and user. So for our parameters. So let's start with the phase. Let it be design development. Purpose. Let's say we have coordination as our purpose. Coordination. What else? Status. Let's say that it's general. And for user, I'll type in maybe something general. And for user, I'll type in maybe something general like beam. I'll click apply, and you see that on the left in the project browser we have now that structure that we wanted to have in our project. It was applied to the 3D view that we previously selected. So let's take a look what's going on here. What I could do in this case, I could select all those views and fill in the data for them. Yes, you can see as we filled it out before, we can simply select it now, clicking on the arrow on the right, and then simply choosing the information we need, the parameter we want to have here. And then I'll click apply, and you see what happens. All these views have now this structure. They have now these 4 parameters. All right. Let me show you what would happen if you would try to create a new schedule now. It can be any schedule, it doesn't matter, but yes, let's say it will be, I don't know, pipe fittings, for example. New construction, okay. A little bit is 4, okay. So you see that also here I have in the text section the parameters that we previously created, and now I can type in whatever I want. I'll click apply, and let's see what happens. So it is our new schedule, pipe fitting schedule. And what we have here we had a few schedules that already existed in the project, but they still have undefined structure. What we could do just the same thing. We could select all them and then fill in the face, purpose, status, and user. So, we can just select it by clicking on the arrow. All right, apply, and now all these schedules have the same structure. Nice, isn't it? But let me show you what happens if you try to copy a schedule. Let's duplicate this view. Duplicate. Okay. So we have a copy of the pipe fitting schedule, and what would happen if I would want to create a similar schedule for another user? What it would be user 2 instead of the user 1. I'll click apply, and we see that it was updated. The structure was automatically updated, and now we have a separate schedule with its own structure. for user 2. So it was split. So yes, that's all is quite nice and handy. And of course, we want to take a look on sheets. Let's create a new sheet. It doesn't matter what it will be. A1 metric, yes, fine. Okay, it's a standard Autodesk sheet. But it doesn't matter what we want to do. We want to look at our parameters. And we want to create or recreate the structure that we already had. It will be, I don't know, maybe we'll have a different purpose here. Let it be layout and status, yes. It will be general. And the user will be, I don't know, engineer 1. All right, and let's click on OK. And look what happened. Yes, you see, so the structure was created with these 4 parameters that we wanted to have in the project browser for every sheet schedule view. Perfect. This is how you can improve your project structure. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is a view template. I'll go to a 3D view that I have in my project, and I'll try to explain you briefly what is a view template. Actually, it's a very powerful feature. A lot of people underestimate it, but learning how to work with view templates in a correct way can be crucial for the project success. As you can see, we already have a few view templates in our project, and I will create a new one by duplicating an existing view template. I'll call it Pipex, of course. And let's take a look. What do we have here? We have different parameters that can be managed, such as level of detail. So you can say that the level of detail in your project is high, medium, or low, depending on what you have. You can also adjust the visibility of your model or model elements. And then override this model. What is it? Here it is possible to override the graphical representation of your model. We have here model categories, so it is possible to apply it to some categories that you want. Such as plumbing equipment, mechanical equipment, pipe fittings, etc. Then we have annotation categories here. What else do we have? Analytical model categories also can be overwritten. We even have imported categories here. So it is even impossible to overwrite an imported DWG file or a Revit file that you imported. So yes, it is a very powerful feature. We even have filters, of course. And yes, filters are very interesting, very complicated, and I would even say that this topic deserves a separate video. So if you are interested, guys, please drop a comment and then I'll record a separate video on this topic. We also have worksets. So as you can see, you can do quite a lot here to improve your workflow. Yeah, these are the parameters we have just seen in the context menu, and then we also have model display. I would say that it's less interesting for piping, but here, yes, you can also play with some parameters such as lighting or depth. You can adjust shadows in your model. So yes, it's possible to play with these things. Then we also have phase filter. So you can say that we want, I don't know, new, existing, or demolition phase. Then we have a discipline, so you can select a discipline you want to be shown, and it will be applied for a view you're working with. Then hidden lines, you can also say that you want them or not to be shown. You want them to be shown or not, or by discipline. It's also possible. And then it's quite interesting because here we can redefine a set of parameters that we previously created: base, purpose, status, and user, and we can predefine the attributes for these parameters. So then when we apply this view template to our view, it will be automatically applied these values will be automatically applied to this view. So I can say that the face is so that's the DD face. Purpose, we can have the same purpose here, or we can say that it's piping layout, for example. Status, new, and user. I'll click apply, and then, you know, maybe I will rename it now. I will call it user 1 pipex, because it is, well, normally you work with several people on a project, so several users will work with a model, and each user will have his own views and view templates. Oh, you see, they weren't saved for whatever reason, so I'll repeat this procedure. Again, I will say that it's piping layout. The status is new, and it's for the user 1. I'll click on apply and OK. And now if you select the 3D view, we don't even need to type in anything, because Revit already knows that if we have this view template, then he knows the parameter values. And what is also interesting is that these values these parameters are locked, so it is not even possible to change anything accidentally. Yes, which is quite handy in my opinion. So yes, it's a very powerful tool, and I think that's it for now. The another thing we could do is maybe create a copy of this view template, and I will show you. The same template but for the user 2. So I'll call it pipex user 2 underline pipex. And here we'll change the user from user 1 to user 2. Click on apply and click OK. Oh, now you see, now user 2. So what would happen if I would apply this view template to a different 3D view? We can try to do it. And you see that, so instead of the coordination purpose, a pipe and layout purpose was applied to these two 3D views, and the first 3D view gets the user 1, while the second 3D view gets the user 2. So this is how you can manage your project structure in a very efficient way. Next, we're going to talk about worksets. I'll go to collaborate. Yeah, what is actually a workset? As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, they can be compared to layers in Autodesk AutoCAD, if you're familiar with this software. So basically, all the components you have in a project can be stored in different layers, in different worksets, yes. Why it is so important to understand what is a workset and to be able to work with worksets? Well, they allow different project users to split worksets so that each user works with its own workset, and this way you can be sure that other project participants won't make any changes to your workset. This way you can be sure that other project participants won't accidentally make any changes to your part, yes, to your workset. So let's see, we have several worksets here. I will I'll make this workset editable, and now we can rename it. I need to close it and open again. And now it is possible to rename it. I want to call it pipex. Or actually it is always recommended to have a certain structure when working with the names. So I always start with pipex, then I type in the discipline, so it's piping in our case, and then it makes sense to add the area you're working with. So let it be A100, and then I want to have a user in the name, and it also makes sense to have a purpose of the work set. So let it be piping piping systems. Okay. And you see what we have here under owner, we have a certain number. It means that an owner has been assigned to this workset. I own this workset now. This means that other project users, other engineers won't be able to modify anything in these worksets, except for me. To enable other project participants to make changes to the components in my workset, you need to relinquish all mine, it is called. So in the collaborate tab you can find this button, and all right, we have an error here. Revit cannot relinquish. Yes, because the project has not been saved. Yes, I can tell you guys what happened. So since we have a local copy of the project, it is not possible to relinquish ownership. To be able to do it, I need to convert this project into a central model first, and then it will be possible to relinquish the elements again. But I won't do it now, it's just for your information. So yes, what I'm going to do, I will create a few more worksets. First, I'll copy the name of the first workset that we created, and then I'll go to new. So, okay, yes, we want to have the same discipline, the same area, but this time I will type in user 2. Okay, and then we'll create another workset for user 1, but this time we will change the purpose. Secondary support. The same I will create for the second user. I'll copy it first. And then we'll also have equipment. Okay, and for user 1 and user 2, you see it is also possible to show different worksets, project standards, views, families. And here under active workset, you can see a list of the worksets that we have recently created. So it's quite handy. We have everything here: piping system, secondary support, equipment, and we can choose any of these worksets and make it our current workset. I will select piping systems for user 1 because we are going to create a pipe in the next step. Alright, this is it for now. I hope, guys, that you could get an idea of what is a project structure, what are view templates and worksets, and why they are so important. The goal of this video was to demonstrate how much time you can save by working this way instead of changing your drawings manually. And in our next video, we will showcase it by modeling pipes using the view templates and worksets we created in this video. I hope you liked this video and see you next time.